"30-year-old Guyana Defense Force, Lieutenant Randall Anthony Douglas, was on Wednesday, June 7, 2023, shot and killed by two armed carjackers at Cul-de-Sac, North Ruimveldt, Georgetown at around 22:30 hours. Douglas, who was attached to the Coast Guard and resided at Baggetville, West Bank Demerara, usually uses his motorcar, a Toyota Fielder wagon bearing registration number PZZ703, to work as a part-time taxi driver with Aladdin Taxi Service, which is located at La Grange, West Bank Demerara. A resident of Cul-de-Sac, North Ruimveldt, told investigators that he was at home when he heard loud explosions suspected to be gunshots at around 22:30 hours on the said date. The resident further said after he heard the gunshots he looked out his window and saw a white Fielder wagon motorcar heading out of the area at a fast rate of speed while Douglas was lying on the ground in a pool of blood. 2 wounds were visible on the victim's chest and head. Further, the owner of the taxi service also told detectives that an identifiable male went to the taxi base and hired Douglas to transport him. It is believed that the male was one of the carjackers who posed as a passenger and lured Douglas into Cul-de-Sac where his other accomplice was waiting. In a close-circuit television footage that has been retrieved from a building close to the crime scene, it was observed that Douglas was turning around his car at what appeared to be a dead end at Cul-de-Sac with a passenger seated in the front seat beside him. Douglas was then seen reversing his car, but a male came out from some bushes, attacked and tried to pull him out of the car, while the second male was still seated in the front passenger seat. Douglas then managed to exit the car and tried to fight off the armed carjacker who was trying to get him out of the car, but the suspect ran towards the bushes. The lieutenant then chased after him and the second carjacker who was seated in the car exited and stood by the driver's side door. Gunshots were heard, as Douglas approached the suspect who ran towards the bushes. The victim was then seen holding his face and chest and was running back to his car but he collapsed. The 2 carjackers then entered his car and drove off at a fast rate. The stolen car was later found sometime between Wednesday and Thursday at Stone Avenue, Georgetown. Meanwhile, hundreds of people after learning of the lieutenant's death expressed how shocked they are and described him as a humble man who was well known for his generosity, while his wife Candace Douglas in a Facebook post said he was her everything. Pair currently looking for the suspects as investigations continue. The Ministry of Home Affairs in a statement today said that Royden Williams was charged, inter alia, with a total of 23 counts of murder including the Lusignan and Bartica massacres. He was found guilty of 9 counts of murder inclusive of the murder of women, children and the death of a Guyana Defense Force officer and sentenced to death on each. In 2017, Williams escaped from lawful custody and was recaptured months thereafter. On May 19, 2023, Williams again escaped from lawful custody from the high-security block of the Mazaruni prison. The ministry added that the facts and circumstances surrounding his escape are matters of public notoriety. Several persons have since been charged with his escape and some who aided and abetted his escape did so using high-powered automatic rifles which were fired upon prison officers during the ordeal. A wanted bulletin was issued. Subsequently, 2 of his accomplices were killed after an exchange of gunfire with members of the joint services who were in pursuit. Williams was shot dead by a joint services team during an exchange of gunfire on Thursday, June 1, 2023, within the 33 miles, Pataro Road, Bartica area. Shortly after his death, Williams's sister engaged the prison authorities who informed her that the state will not hand over the body to the family and will take care of the funeral arrangements. The reasons were provided to the sister. The prison authorities and the sister, on behalf of the family, discussed and consensually planned the funeral arrangements. Out of those discussions, it was decided that the funeral will take place at Memorial Gardens, La Repentier, with an agreed number of family members in attendance and that the family's pastor will do the final rites. Nonetheless, at 8 a.m. this morning the director of prisons and the sister of Williams confirmed these arrangements. The Guyana Prison Service's position on this matter is that unless the convictions and sentences imposed upon Williams were set aside or reversed by a court of competent jurisdiction, Williams's body will remain with the prison authorities, as the law provides. Appeals filed and pending against his multiple convictions and sentences do not affect this position. The matter is further compounded by the fact that Williams escaped again from lawful custody, aided and abetted by several persons, some of whom had high-powered automatic rifles, who not only fired upon the pursuing ranks but also created general fear and terror countrywide.
Two sisters who perished in a tragic fire yesterday afternoon at Belmont, Mahaica have been identified as 3-year-old Shamina Hardat and 9-year-old Animika Hardat. According to a source, their mother reportedly locked them in the house alone and left them to go out. The source said, the grandfather of the children was under the house when he heard them, the two children, screaming in the house. When he went up, he saw smoke, but he was unable to take them out of the house, because both of the doors were locked and the windows were barred. The grandmother speaks out.
Well, the door been just hooked. It na pa lock, press don't call lock, don't call anything but just hook.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the windows were barred.
Well, we can't really say if we been get barred from the window because sometimes most of the time sometimes she just open out for breeze like when she did home and sometimes the thing, but we can't really say. Sometimes I go over there to be honest, me don't know if you get barred or you don't get barred because with the blind there and we can't see if barred there on the house. My neighbors, he say he see the fire and he see my son on the zinc tap a hustle for get the picture anybody. He say he run and he jumped to the zinc tap to help my son but I can't get. And then after that everybody start to run and someone nobody couldn't make it. So for save the fire done already do what you gotta do with the pick me them.
6 contracts were signed today for the rebuilding of St. George's High School, which was destroyed by fire in July 2022. The school is expected to be completed in 5 to 7 months and will feature several fire prevention mechanisms. The Honorable Minister of Education, Priya Manikchand, witnessed the signing today in the Ministry of Education's boardroom. Minister Manikchand said that the ministry is focused on providing high-quality education to children across the country. The Education Minister said that the Georgetown Education District had serious space constraints before the fires that destroyed St. George's High School, the North Ruimveldt Secondary School, and Christ Church Secondary. She said that with the destruction of those schools, the situation became even worse. She said that under the 5 years of the APNU-AFC administration, no secondary school was started and completed. As such, she said that a lot of the space issues are now being addressed. She reminded those present that yesterday contracts were signed to reconstruct the Christ Church Secondary School and that soon contracts will be signed to rebuild the St. Mary's High School. This, along with the reconstruction of the North Ruimveldt Secondary School, the St. Rose's High School, extensions at Queen's College, the Bishop's High School, the East Ruimveldt Secondary School, and the St. Winfried Secondary School, the space issues in the Georgetown district, will be addressed. Further, Minister Manikchand noted that the completion of the Good Hope Secondary School will address space issues along the East Coast while the completion of the Yarrow Cabra Secondary School will address the said issue for the Upper East Bank Demerara area. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Alfred King stated that the total project cost is $253.8 million. Similar to the approach being used to rebuild the Christ Church Secondary School, the project has been divided into lots to be executed simultaneously by different contractors. He said that the school will be a 2-story building oriented with a panoramic view of the lower flat. The upper flat will feature 12 classrooms. The lower flat will house 6 laboratories, including the Information Technology, Home Economics, and Industrial Technology laboratories. The fire prevention components of the school include fire escape stairs, escape doors, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, limited timber usage, metal ceilings, and fire retardant panels. The project consultant is Origin Investment.